I'm proud and excited to announce that the new book, Transform Your Body, Transform Your Life, is now available. I've put the links to grab your copy from Amazon worldwide in the show notes, and I can't wait to see what you think. As a thank you for listening to the podcast, email podcast@rntfitness.com with your receipt, and we'll send you the free ebook version to start reading immediately. If you like a sneak peek of what's inside, you can download the first chapter at rntfitness.com/book. Also, you've heard me talking about the power of journaling for a long time, so I'm happy to announce we've now got customized RNT journals in store. There's a mix of prompts and freestyle writing, which you can take a glimpse of on rntfitness.com/journal. Just a quick one before we get into this episode. If you're in the UK and you use supplements, I'd highly recommend checking out Reflex Nutrition, where they're giving up to 40% on all their range if you use the code PTRNT at checkout. I've been using Reflex for nearly a decade, with their microwave being one of my favorite whey proteins. It's grass-fed, hormone-free, and digests so well compared to most on the market. Check out their full supplement range, including all your transformation basics and plant-based alternatives on reflexnutrition.com, and use the code PTRNT at checkout for up to 40% off. Every once in a while, I come across a story that completely blows me away. It causes me to stop, think, and marvel at the level of belief, fortitude, and resilience required to both transform their body and life. Jemie Mistry's story epitomizes this, and she's today's guest on RNT Fitness Radio. Growing up and living with cerebral palsy, Jemie's journey has not always been straightforward. But over the past 2 years, I've witnessed her defy previous limiting beliefs, break through new barriers, and use the physical as the vehicle for the greater good. Having lost 25 kilos to reach her first checkpoint recently, Jemie's story highlights the power of being committed, consistent, and coachable. Her physical change is incredible, but as you'll soon hear, how she's now using it as a vehicle to do the previously unimaginable is life-changing. We've also written up her case study, where you can read more about and see the pictures, and I've linked it in the show notes. I hope you enjoy this episode. So how's your consolidation phase going? It's been, 6 weeks since your transformation checkpoint and photo shoot?
Yeah, it's been going so good. Due to the lockdown, I had to rechange my workout, rechange my schedule. But yeah, it's amazing to actually be eating a lot more food now, not have to worry about 100,000 steps. It's been so good and interesting just to see how the body reacts post-shoot.
What sort of realizations and things have you noticed?
Being able just to hold my weight, even though I'm eating way more calories and I'm moving way less than pre-shoot, the body is loving it. I'm definitely happy, Jamie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so interesting just to see how it works.
Yeah, a consolidation done effectively, when you don't binge and you don't go off the rails, your body can soak up a lot of calories. So it's actually really cool if you can nail it properly, what can be done.
Yeah, just because I obviously was going really hard for the shoot, I just was overwhelmed after the shoot. I just didn't know what to do, because from going from 20,000 steps to 15, I was like, what do I do in my spare time?
And what are you up to now? What sort of steps and what sort of steps are you doing now, and training wise?
So at the moment I'm doing home workouts, because obviously we're in lockdown, which I'm really enjoying, and I'm doing 15,000 steps.
Okay, so it must have been like a pretty good timing for the lockdown, actually, because it almost gave you a new way to train straight after your photo shoot.
Yeah, it was a bit annoying though, because I was so used to my routine.
Yeah.
And then literally after the shoot, you're already on a high. And I think literally it was the following weekend from my shoot, and then I couldn't use my gym, and getting food was a nightmare. So I didn't even get to celebrate, because, you were just forced to stay in your house. And I was even meant to go to Dubai for a family holiday. So yeah, it's just actually a workout.
You're enjoying it, you said?
Yeah, and it's nice because you're in your own area. Using the resistance bands, they are way more painful than I thought. I just thought, home workout. But I was sore for so many days after doing my first session.
Yeah, it's definitely been a shock for most people, because I think when you switch the resistance up to much lighter, you start focusing on the actual muscle, and you're less worried about the weight, because you don't have anything to compare it to. So any ego that you may have built up just disappears, and it's straight back to basics.
Yeah, and it's so weird. I'm actually now counting. I'm counting my tempo. I'm constantly looking at my form. And it's interesting because when you're in the gym, you're too busy with distractions and everything around you. And now working at home, it's literally just me.
Yeah.
So I'm picking up little things that I definitely would not realise. And I think when we do go back to the gym, it's like my form is going to be so much better.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all these things that you always think you're going to work on, like your form and your tempo. Like tempo is something that most people just ignore until it's the only way you can make things hard. Then it's like, okay, now I have to do this. And then when it carries over to heavy weights, that's when you'll see some really good strength gains and muscle development.
And I had so much equipment at home anyway, and it was about time I dust off all the cobwebs and started using it. Because when you have a gym membership, you just use everything there. You don't even bother with everything you have at home.
Absolutely. So you've had 6 weeks since your checkpoint, and what's really cool about your story is the length of time it took you to get to the checkpoint, because I think it really highlights the benefit of the long-term journey, taking things slow and steady, and the magnitude of your transformation is amazing. So we're gonna dive into that. But before we do that, I wanted to go right back to the summer of 2018 and talk about what your trigger was, what your why was at the start of this journey, and what prompted you to first join the RNT family.
So I think I was like many people. I was just fed up with where I was at. I was constantly trying all these new programs. I was yo-yo dieting, and I was just going round and round in circles, not seeing results. And I was really consistent. I would follow everything they would say, but I think now looking back, it was just too generic for me. And when my cousin sort of introduced me to RNT, I literally didn't believe it was real. And I know we spoke about this. I literally thought everything was Photoshopped. And I was thinking, no way can these guys help me. And I think back then your branding was different. I was like, I don't want to look like a bodybuilder. Like, this is not for me. And she was like, literally, just give it a go. And I must confess, I only signed up because back then you were offering, that 30-day money-back guarantee.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to sign up. I'm going to be cashing in a month later because I know it's not going to work for me. But here I am 2 years later. How silly was I?
Do you want to add to that? What else you signed up on the premise of? So it wasn't just that, but it was also a bet.
Yeah, I know. We bet it with each other, and I was like, it's not going to work on me. And then, yeah, it's phenomenal just to see it did actually work,
So what was the trigger? Like, I know you mentioned you've done a lot of training in the past. You've tried lots of different things, worked with PTs, a lot of generic cookie cutter plans. But what was the trigger? Because there's always has to be something which like causes you to think, okay, you're fed up about these different plans, but what was really going on? Like, how were you feeling? Where were you coming from at that point?
I think a lot of frustration, and I remember clearly I was in the airport lounge in Heathrow, ready to go on a holiday that I had been training so hard. Yeah, I was the biggest I had ever been, and I was like, I don't know how this is happening. I remember sending my application form just before getting on a plane onto my holiday. And I think that was a trigger point because I knew I was going on holiday. I didn't look the way I wanted to look. And I was literally just lost. And I thought, if these guys can help me, amazing. Like, there's no harm in giving it a go.
Yeah. And how did you feel at the start? Was it a sense of excitement or was it a sense of overwhelm? Where were you feeling once you got back from holiday and began the journey?
Definitely overwhelmed. All your clients, you receive everything from introducing me to my coach, the workout plan. And for me in particular, in terms of training, I really have to adapt all my exercises. So it was a case of going through everything and scrapping through what I could do, what I couldn't do. Getting my head around sort of weighing all the food and the macros, because I hadn't really done that in the past, or I hadn't taken it as seriously as I wanted to.
Yeah. Just on the topic of training, do you want to discuss why you were scrapping or had to be diligent with your exercise selection?
Sure. So I have cerebral palsy, which affects the right side of my body. So a lot of these cookie cutter plans have generic exercises that I personally cannot do. So simple things like a lunge, I can do it with my left leg, but my right leg can't hold the weight coming from my left leg. And so I'm constantly having to modify exercises to suit me. So my coach Nathan, when he sent it over, we spoke over email and went through each one and made sure it was adapted to what I could do, because there's no point in me following a training plan that was way beyond my own sort of skill set, especially at a beginner's level.
Yeah. So with cerebral palsy, can you explain a bit more about what it is and how it affects you specifically?
So cerebral palsy, there's a large spectrum of how severe you can suffer from these symptoms. So for me personally, it just affects the right side of my body. So I have not much grip in my right hand. So say, for instance, I was holding a cup of tea, I can hold it in my left hand, but my right hand wouldn't even be able to hold the weight of that. So as you can only imagine, in training-wise, doing something as like a pull-up, I can only hold with my left arm and not have any strength with my right arm. And with cerebral palsy, there's more complications, a lot of fatigue, which is hard juggling because I love fitness, but I still have my own day-to-day responsibilities and activities. I work full-time, and when I come home, I still need to either cook, do house chores, and then fit fitness in at the same time.
Yeah. So with cerebral palsy, is it the gripping element, or can you if it's if you don't have to grip, can you push against it? Where how is yours affected there? So how are you adapting your upper body training, for example, or lower body?
So for instance, to do a pull-up, I'm on the assisted machine and I use the handles that you use, on the seated rows.
Yeah.
And I put it up onto the assisted pull-up machine and then grab that. So I can grab, if I can fit my hand around it, I can grab it and have full grip.
Okay. But is it the force element, or is it more the grip element there?
I would say more the grip. As long as I have a grip.
Then you can apply force.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. And what about legs? How you said the lunge. Is there any other exercises specifically that you had to really adapt?
So for instance, with the leg extensions, it was more a case of I just had to do single leg extensions because the strength of my left leg is so powerful compared to my right.
Yeah.
Same again with leg press. I can do that, but I just need to make sure my right foot is engaged. Otherwise, I'm literally just training my left leg, or my left leg is constantly overpowering my right leg. Okay,
and then the right side can be trained to a higher level of strength, or is there a limitation there?
There is limitation, but I'm getting stronger each week.
Oh, awesome.
Or my right leg is just trying to catch up, where my poor left leg is just maintaining and going with the pace. Oh,
so you keep it at that level, so whereby you'll lead with your left and hold maintenance on there, and just slowly bring up the right.
Yeah, for instance, I can do lunges and squats now, but I use the Smith machine because at least that's controlling my balance.
Got it. Understand.
Whereas when I'm using a barbell, I'm literally just flying all over the place because I have no balance. But with a Smith machine, I'm in control.
Balance is one of the issues that's caused from cerebral palsy, right?
Yeah. So doing like a burpee, I can't do that because my upper body isn't strong enough to shoot me back up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, got it. What were some of the struggles that you face with this growing up and in your younger days? How did it affect you, both physically and mentally?
I think I was really lucky in the sense of, I never got bullied at school and no one ever singled me out. And my family is so supportive. So doing cooking, for instance, cutting, I really struggle cutting.
Yeah.
So, my mum is like my personal sous chef at home. She helps me in that sense. And doing just your day-to-day tasks like dressing, doing buttons, doing zips, because I just don't have that grasp in both my hands, it just makes all those things you may take for granted so difficult.
And then from a more mental, psychological point of view, how did it affect you at all? Or
no, I think I think me as a person, I never really took it too much. It was frustrating, obviously, when you're at school, you see everyone's doing swimming lessons, riding a bike, doing handstands, and I could never do any of that. And I think it was just poor mindset. Now I'm older, I'm definitely realizing, I can achieve way more than I thought I could. It will take, it might take me longer than most people, but I can definitely achieve it. And there's people out there that are struggling way more, and there's athletes, that are doing the Paralympics with one leg. So if they can do something like that, then surely I can eventually get there with determination.
I had a DM actually 2 weeks ago from a lady who has cerebral palsy, and she asked, have you got any case studies I can read of anyone with cerebral palsy? And I said, well, funnily you mentioned that, because in 2 weeks' time, I'm actually doing a podcast with one of our clients who has it. So stay tuned for that. So she's really looking forward to it. So hopefully she'll be inspired by your story here.
It's like a world. I've not ever met anyone that has it. And because I do have a mild version of it, everyone's shocked. So I know there's certain clients that train at my gym, and especially when we have RNT meetups. And when I go out socializing as well, I can see people are analyzing it because they can notice a slight difference. But everyone's like too shy to come up to me and just ask. And for instance, my car is adapted to me. So when certain people don't know, they see my car and they're all of a sudden like, Jemie, why do you have that? Why do you have this? And then when I tell them, they're like, I've known you for years and I didn't even know. And I'm like, it's so hard because I struggle with it, but there's pros and cons that people can't see it. So when you see someone in a wheelchair, you automatically know, to help them, I'm going to open the door, I'm going to reach this. But for me, unless I don't vocally tell someone what I need, it's way more complicated than people realize. And even in the gym, a few people have stopped me and gone, sorry, you're doing this wrong. And then I have to explain to them and they're just blown away.
Yeah. What advice would you give to people who maybe who may have the similar condition and are looking to improve their physical and mental health? Like, how would you advise them?
I definitely would just say, your own limits, obviously go at your own pace, but you just need belief and determination, and just take each week as it comes. So I made the biggest mistake at the beginning, and Nathan knows this. I was comparing myself to all these other transformations and all these people on Instagram. And I'll be like, they've done this in 10 weeks. I'm 10 weeks in and I'm nowhere where they're at. And it's only through our check-ins, you made me realize, focus on yourself. You're on your own unique journey. You may have certain complications other people do not have, but you will get there. And, he was so right. Okay, I'm nearly 2 years with RNT. And I know some people be thinking it took her that long to get to the photo shoot, but it was right for me. And I made sure I did it the safest way possible. And also what fit into my lifestyle, and to make sure I never have to worry again about getting into shape, because this is more of a lifestyle. It's not a quick fix.
Absolutely. Go on, Karen.
I was just going to say that you definitely need to have a lot of hard work, determination, and being consistent. So each week I may not be progressing, and it was frustrating me. But a month later, I was lifting a dumbbell that I would dream of holding. So when I started in this journey, it was so embarrassing. I was holding 1 and 2 kg dumbbells. I was holding, one of those benches that all these men were using, and they were looking at me thinking, what is this girl doing? And I'm just sitting there thinking, recording myself and Nathan thinking, don't worry, Jemie, just ignore them. And now I'm holding a 10 kg dumbbell. I feel so much more confident. So definitely my advice to them will be literally do not give up, because hopefully a year later they're doing their own podcast and transforming their body.
Amazing. What was your driving factor along the way? It started, you mentioned what your why and your driving factor was at the beginning. What was continuing to drive you along the way and still continues to drive you?
I think just proving people wrong, because growing up, a lot of people put you in a bubble just to say, it's not for you, don't worry, being sporty, doing these activities, just don't worry. Because I think everyone was too concerned I could damage my body. So if I did damage my left arm, my independence would just go out the window because I can't rely on the right side of my body. And it's just nice accomplishing things, and I love a challenge.
And that's why you, and now, and what about now? Is it the same reason that's driving you forward?
It's actually quite scary because what I thought I wanted, it's changing. I'm like, okay, maybe I do want to go more harder and transform my body a bit more. And yeah, just try and get as strong as possible.
So what do you, when you say you want to go a lot harder and you've changed what you wanted, what does this mean?
And maybe to go more hard in training. I haven't even said this to Nathan, but maybe go even leaner. I'm definitely enjoying all the extra food at the moment, so maybe I can invest for as long as possible and then cut later.
Yeah, definitely. What so we talked about the start of the journey being quite overwhelming, and then once you kind of gathered into your momentum, you got into your rhythm, you found your own way. And the body weight started coming off. You started feeling better. Started getting stronger. How were you? One thing when I was speaking to Nathan before this podcast, and he said that Jemie never misses a check-in. The reason why she's done so well is because she's never missed a check-in. She always sends training videos. She's the perfect, ideal kind of client. Talk more about that and what the importance of checking in is, what value you get from the check-in, and why that's been such a driver for you.
Yeah, definitely. So I made sure I checked in every week, and it was just that level of accountability. So I knew each week I had to make sure all those green boxes were ticked. I weighed myself, I recorded myself. It was important for me recording myself because I was already learning bad behaviors I was forming in the gym. So I would record one set, realize what I was doing wrong, and then re-record it and then send that to him.
Okay.
And in your check-ins too, I think the more the weeks went on, I realized the more I opened up to him and told him what I was thinking or feeling, he could help me way more. And I was just trying to be as honest as possible. So if he did tell me to do something and it just wasn't working, before I was reluctant and I would go out my own way and just try and solve it. And then in the end, I realized he's the expert. And when I would just tell him, he would be like, it's fine, this is how you do it. And yeah, so any future clients, when you do sign up with your coach, just try and be as honest as possible. They're here to help you, and don't be afraid to reach out. I think only now I'm contacting him throughout the week, whereas before I would wait until my check-in. So I think that would push me back a week, whereas now I'm in more contact.
Yeah. And how do you overcome the feeling of opening up? Because that can be difficult if you're not used to it. And you said you've only just started doing that more so now.
Yeah.
How, reflecting back, what has been the kind of step changes you've felt in your level of openness with your coach?
I think it was just as the weeks went on, we started to form like a good relationship with each other. And it is hard because it's online too. Sometimes, well, me personally, I feel bad telling someone all my issues, and I just feel like I'm moaning to him. And he's probably got so many other people saying the same stuff, like, I'm on little calories, I need more food, I need more carbs. So I don't know, I think that's just me as a person. I was like, just get on with it. But then when I did tell him certain things, it made me realize my why was maybe deeper than I realized. And when I did have socials, instead of getting so stressed, if I just told him, I had these socials this week, we could easily navigate my whole plan.
What were some of the deeper whys that you only just realized through the check-in process?
I think only just recently I realized I can accomplish way more than I imagined. At my work, I haven't even told Nathan this, but at my work, we get free men's and women's health magazine. And growing up, I was always flicking through and reading them. And some of the stories were phenomenal. And I was just like, before I got into fitness, I was just like, one day I'm going to get into shape like these people. And I don't know, maybe the next 3 years, I can see myself in that magazine and prove to all these people that it really does not matter where you start. It's how you get there.
Do you think?
And do it yourself as well. Like, it's just for you, and you will feel so much better.
How do you help people what advice do you give people who struggle with that comparison syndrome? Because it's easy to say you should just think about yourself, but how do you actualize that and avoid comparison syndrome? Because it's such a difficult thing people struggle with social media and magazines.
Generation.
What was that?
Yeah, I said, especially in this generation, even I have a bad habit of just scrolling through social media, comparing myself to all these girls. The only advice I can just say is just focus on yourself. I know it's easier said than done.
Do you right now, when you think about the way you want to invest going forwards and improve your body, do you still look at other people, or do you now think about how you're going to improve your own body?
Honestly, I do look at other people, but it's more I'm inspired at what they've achieved.
Got it. Yeah.
And I'm not comparing what I look like to them, because you should never do that. It's just more the sense of motivation, really.
Would you say that was different a couple of years ago, maybe?
Oh, 100%. Like, poor Nathan, I would send him screenshots of all these girls, like, how do they look like this? Come on.
Well, you sent them to me as well, even at the beginning. Yeah.
Oh my God.
You sent like 2 or 3 pictures. I was looking at it when I was writing your case study of like these 3 women in bikinis. Like, this is what I want to look like. This is what you said, this is what I look like now, and this is what I want to look like in the future. I was like, okay. Well.
I completely forgot. Yeah. Well, I wanted to make it clear that I didn't want to look like a stick at the end of this journey. Oh my God, yeah. How embarrassing. Because I love curves on girls, and I just wanted to make sure I still had like a tight waist, but could still hold strong legs and have firm glutes. Yeah. So in another year's time, I'm even stronger.
Absolutely. We'll have to see if we can get you into women's health then. That'll be pretty cool.
Imagine.
We'll talk about that outside of the podcast for sure. So on the journey, so you're on towards the first checkpoint, the 92 weeks that led you to the photo shoot. What was the process like? Talk about it a bit more. In that, was it linear? Were you chipping away slowly each week? Did you have diet breaks? Did you take time off the diet? What was the kind of strategy that you guys were playing around with? And how were you feeling mentally along the way?
Sure. I'd say like my fat loss stage did take a very, very long time. And I know we did have 2 diet breaks lasting for about 8 to 6 weeks. And 10 weeks to the shoot, I think that's when the hammer really dropped and Nathan got rid of my carbs. And I was only having carbs from vegetables. And I remember when I read that email, I was thinking, it's getting serious now. 10 weeks to the shoot, this is what he's doing. And I think at that point, I was ready to explode, because I was doing 20,000 steps, as a short female too, you have to be moving a lot to stay lean. I was training twice a day, so it was intense as it was.
Is that cardio, one weights, one cardio?
Yeah, and especially for me too, I had to spread it because it was just too much for my body.
Yeah.
So I was doing about an hour of training in the morning doing weights, and then an hour of cardio in the evening. And then everyone at my work was laughing at me because any moment I had, I was either going to the toilet or walking around the office doing my steps. So in all honesty, if you want to do a photo shoot, be prepared for the hard work. I was not ready for that at all. And in terms of socials, I definitely had to reduce that because I love going out, and it's only then do you realise, like, I'm standing in a club, it's 4 a.m. and I'm thinking, in 2 hours time, I need to be training. I can't be managing this lifestyle at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely shoot-wise, focused on like the cardio, eating clean, and just keep consistent.
Yeah, when you're in the grind, it's you got to make that a little bit of a sacrifice. But outside of those 10 weeks, I'm assuming your social life pretty much maintained, and you've been able to really integrate. And I know that was really important to you to make sure that it integrated tightly into your lifestyle. So talk about some of the strategies you used to do this, to make it seamless and not a chore that you had to almost earn when you went out for, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I wanted to make sure I didn't lose that element of me because, getting into shape is important, but I still wanted to have a life. And the main thing I sort of learned was when I went out to eat, I didn't need to have a 3-course set menu. I didn't need to have starters, main, and a dessert. So the main thing me and Nathan worked on was a lot of buffering. But then as it got closer, the more socials I did, the more I realized I don't need to always be eating out. There's so many more activities I could be doing. And in terms of going for drinks, I knew if I just stayed to spirits with some Diet Coke, I could, that's 100 calories that I could just play with and still have a good time.
Yeah. Just so you mentioned earlier that for a short female, you have to move a lot. Just so people can understand some context, do you want to give some of your stats of your height, but also like how much you've actually transformed? I think that'd be really, just so people can understand like just how much you've changed as a person.
Yeah, so unfortunately I'm not gifted in the height department. So I'm 4'11", not 5 foot, unfortunately. And originally I was about, 66 kg. And then on the day of my shoot, I was about 41 and a half. So yeah,
amazing.
Way lighter. And I remember I was wearing clothes that were hitting 14, size 16. And now I'm shopping and I'm ranging between an 8 and a 10.
Amazing. That's life-changing. How did it feel on the day to celebrate that moment? And you've still, I mean, this is your new norm now, right? How does it feel in this new body?
Do you know what? It's so surreal because you work so hard each week to get there. And at the shoot, I just didn't realize what I looked like. And it's only when Sham showed me one picture and I looked at my mum and my mum looked at me and I was like, oh my God, where has this definition come from?
Yeah.
In my back, I don't even look at my back.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, my arms, even just my waist. It's amazing just to see it all come together because I think also as clients, we're so hard on ourselves because we're always looking at what we still need to do. But I didn't appreciate and realize what I've achieved physically as well.
Yeah, it's when you drop that much and also because you've done it nice and slowly, it probably just will hit you all at once.
Yeah, and what was so bizarre too, after the shoot, I didn't even celebrate. I went to the gym and I still had to do my 20,000 steps and do my cardio. And that just proved to me also that this is for life. It's not just a switch, and it's so good to know that I don't need to look anywhere else. Every January worrying, what diet am I going to start now? What clothes can I not fit in? And now I'm just so happy.
Yeah. How much time did you waste in that headspace of like, what am I going to do next? What's the next diet? Because imagine I think you mentioned before you were stuck in that yo-yo dieting cycle. What was the headspace around that? Because that's something so many people suffer with.
Yeah, 100%. It's so mentally draining because, you want things to happen, but there's only so long you can wait and there's only so many diets you can follow and everyone's got their own technique, whether it's a paleo diet, a keto diet, a juice diet. And I just was fed up because, I knew it was achievable and I was willing to give everyone a shot. And even certain PTs would reach out to me and be like, yeah, sure, we can do one-to-one sessions. All I was wasting was my money. And I was thinking, how much more longer can I do this?
Yeah. And then the money dropped, the penny dropped.
Yeah, 100%. Again, now looking back, credit to you as well, because I know I was so skeptical and I know we didn't even know if this was going to be right for you, whether just to do nutrition and no training. But the main thing for me was I needed to get strong, not just for physical reasons, just for my own health and my own independence. And I thought, if I'm going to do this, I'm just going to do it all in one go. And I do not regret it at all.
Yeah, I was actually looking through that chain when I was writing a case study, because I was going back and forth with Nathan saying, have you got, can we advise on this? And he was confident he could do it. So yeah, it's a good job he said that, because otherwise we wouldn't be having this conversation then.
And then to think, when me, you and Nathan, we went to like Hakkasan for dinner, and I was so happy where I was at. And I was 4 months into my journey. And now, if you told me that at dinner, and here's a crystal ball, this is what you're going to look like 2 years later, probably would have fell off my chair or something.
Where were you at that point? Where were you at in the journey? You're 4 months in. What were your stats at that point?
I think I was 56.
Oh wow! So you weren't even like halfway in terms of stats wise.
No. Yeah. 50. I was just checking through. Yeah, 56, and I was content with that.
Oh wow!
And now I'm sitting in like close to 40.
What made you want to continue pushing there? Because if you were content there, what was the drive after that? Is it just a case of like continual progression and that journey towards self mastery, or?
I think it was just exciting to know where I could push my body to. And I think a lot of ego too, because I was thinking, if I can get here, how much more further can I get? Okay. And I think also when you start, I don't know about other people, but because I work in the creative industry, my mind works very visually. And because I could visually see results, I was like, this is it. I'm going all in.
And then when did you decide to do the photo shoot?
Oh, I think, when did I decide to do that? I booked a holiday and I needed just to push myself even further. And I think it was about time, because I had been about just over a year with RNT.
Yeah.
And Nathan were just talking generally about, how well I had done. And that's when I was like to Nathan, I really want to do a shoot. And he was like, are you sure? Because once you say yes, it's not as easy as you think. And I just wanted to document this because, I'm proud of where I've got to. And I knew it would hold me accountable to get as lean as possible. Yeah, I think that's what just made me want to book it in. And I was getting jealous. I was seeing everyone's transformations. And I was like, I just want to join in.
You want to get a photo album for yourself?
Yeah, and just to remind myself of just how.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of the best things you could do, not just from the accountability point of view, but looking back and think, wow, that was an incredible achievement I've done in my life. And then it's like, okay, I did that time. Now let me do another one in a couple of years' time and then compare.
Yeah. Oh my God, I haven't even thought about
That's
that.
like the next level.
God.
I'm sure.
Full name would be like, I can't get rid of her.
No, that's what she's going to be saying. That's what he's going to be saying. How's it affected your family? This change, this transformation. How's it affected everyone around you?
So I think at first they were just like, oh, she's just going to start another plan, and a month later she's just going to be, back to doing, complaining that she hasn't got anywhere. And then eventually, when they saw how focused I was meal prepping, I woke up early, I was going to the gym, and I was constantly going for my walks. And then slowly I was getting smaller and smaller. And my immediate family that I live with were just confused, because I'm eating real food. I'm still eating my chicken and rice. And they were just blown away. They were like, this is actually working. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
And now everyone's like slowly eating a bit healthier. We actually joke, because I love having salads. And before RNT, there's this one salad bowl we all used to eat as a family, and it would feed about 4 of us. Now I can demolish that one bowl just for myself.
Wow.
And slowly now everyone has these big bowls of salad at dinner. And when I'm going for my walks, everyone wants to join me. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, this was my alone time, and now everyone wants to get on this. But it's so good, because when I'm cooking dinner, like my mum's with me next to me, and she's like, oh, so how are you doing this? And she's slowly like learning how to cook healthier too.
Brilliant.
And happy that I'm doing it the right way, because a lot of people thought, because I lost weight a lot very quickly, a lot of people thought I wasn't eating real food, thought I was starving myself or drinking juices. So I think everyone was just blown away that I didn't have to give up the foods I love. I just made it fit sort of this new lifestyle.
Absolutely. Have your parents and family embraced the lifestyle as well? So you said they're going for walks. Are they also starting to learn better habits and implement better nutrition practices?
100%. And they're just getting so jealous because like all these old clothes that I'm now getting rid of, and they're like, okay, we need to start moving, doing something. Too much competition. But it's nice because we're all going for walks. We're naturally doing more activities as a family as opposed to just sitting or going out for a meal.
Yeah, absolutely. How's the physical been the vehicle for you in your life through this journey? How's it been for the greater good in your life?
I think just to know that I can accomplish so much more than I thought in terms of career-wise, in terms of my life, just my own personal achievements. And just to know that, I may look good physically, but mentally, I think I'm on such a happier level too. And I'm just now, after the shoot, I'm slowly picking up on things, or I'm slowly becoming way more ambitious.
Yeah. Have you got examples?
I work in the creative industry, so I really want to maybe go up more in the career space I'm at and try and push a bit more in my career and job roles. And then physical-wise, I definitely want to learn how to swim. I think that is next on my list.
Yeah, you said you have a number of things you want to now push for that are more day-to-day tasks. What are some of these that you're now looking to try and achieve?
I would definitely say swimming and riding a bike. They are two things I've always wanted to do. So fingers crossed, eventually I can be wearing, my nice swimming costume and then be able to swim on the beach.
Yeah, definitely.
And then in terms of more day-to-day, my mum will be happy. She won't need to be my sous chef anymore. I can start cutting a bit more quicker.
Nice.
And it's just nice to know that I don't need to ask for help when doing more simple stuff that other people take for granted, just like dressing or, more day-to-day stuff.
Yeah. Now that you've been through this journey and you've hit the checkpoint, what advice would you give to people who may be on a similar journey whereby they might be like 50, 60, 70 weeks in, and they're on their route to that first checkpoint, but they might be looking around and thinking, why is it taking me longer? What advice do you give to people? Because we can say all the time, your journey is your own and it doesn't matter whether it's 25, 50, 100, 150 weeks. But as someone who's been through it, what advice would you give to those people?
The advice I could give them is that, they may be sore today, but they're definitely going to be strong tomorrow, strong in a week's time. And do not compare yourself to where other people are at. And when they get to that end goal, they're going to kick themselves that they just didn't persevere and keep going. Nothing easy is worth having. And we all have our own sort of struggles and our own issues that we face. And okay, you may not be seeing results physically, but there may be other areas in their life that they're seeing results, whether it's staying on track on their food plan or actually waking up and going to the gym. They're all going to contribute to that end result. Yeah,
the process. So what's next for Jemie then?
Next for Jemie is definitely get my waist as tight as possible, get more stronger, and definitely get these glutes growing, ready for hopefully another photo shoot in 2.5 years' time.
Amazing. Jemie version 2 then.
Yeah.
What are you calling the project again?
Oh, I'm calling it Project Slim Thick.
Oh, amazing. Any parting words for the listeners before we finish?
Just a massive thank you to everyone who's helped me in this journey, from you guys, from Nathan, and also everyone in the RNT family on Facebook. All their posts are just so encouraging and so inspiring too. And if there's any clients that are wondering whether or not to join you guys, I really, really recommend it. Definitely give it a shot. You guys definitely proved me it works for me. And for anyone out there who is not seeing any results, just keep striving to that progression and not for perfection.
Brilliant. That's actually a quote you use very nicely in the case study, which you can find linked in the show notes today. Thanks so much for coming on, Jemie.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today on this episode of RNT Fitness Radio. I'd love for you to do a quick little favor for us. Please head over to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating, leave a comment, and share it with your family and friends. If you're interested in learning more about how to transform your body and positively change your life, go to www.rntfitness.com and explore all our free content on offer. Thank you.